I found the receipt on a Tuesday. Not the affair, the receipt, crumpled, shoved into the pocket of his gym shorts like it didn't matter. Like I didn't matter. La Belle Vie Hotel and Spa, room 507, 2 bathrobes, champagne service, rose petal turn down. My husband, my Derek, doesn't even drink champagne. He says it gives him migraines. But apparently it doesn't give him migraines when he's celebrating, whatever this was. I stood there in our laundry room, detergent steam curling around my ankles, holding this little square of thermal paper like it was a grenade with the pin already pulled. And you know what the worst part was? I wasn't even surprised. I was relieved. Because for 6 months, I'd been telling myself I was crazy, paranoid, insecure. He'd been coming home late, smelling like perfume that wasn't mine, deleting texts, changing his passwords. And every single time I asked, he'd hit me with the same script. Babe, you're overthinking. Babe, I'm just stressed with work. Babe, are you okay? Maybe you should talk to someone. He made me feel like I was the problem, like my gut, the same gut that had loved him, married him, built a life with him, was just broken. But guts don't lie, and neither do receipts. So I did what any woman with a 401k, a joint mortgage, and a spine made of pure spite would do. I went full forensic. I didn't cry, I didn't scream, I didn't confront. I opened my laptop, logged into Amazon, and ordered the smallest, highest-rated hidden camera I could find. 2-day shipping. And when that little black cube arrived, no bigger than a car key, I tucked it inside the decorative succulent on our bedroom dresser, right next to his cologne, the cologne he only wore on late work nights. I aimed it at the bed, I pressed record, and then I waited. 3 days later, I had everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. The video, the audio, the, "Oh God, Derek, your wife has no idea," whispered between silk sheets I'd picked out at Pottery Barn. Her name was Sienna. Of course it was, because women who sleep with married men always have names that sound like luxury candles. By the time my lawyer finished drafting the divorce settlement, Derek didn't just lose the house. He lost the cars, the retirement accounts, the investment properties, the reputation. He lost everything. And the internet loved every second of it. This is the story of how one hidden camera, one cheating husband, and one woman who refused to be gaslit became the most savage divorce case the family court had ever seen. Buckle up. If you've ever been lied to, gaslit, or made to feel like you're the crazy one when you know something's wrong, hit that like button right now. Subscribe because you're about to hear one of the most satisfying revenge stories of the year. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the end for this courtroom moment. Let me rewind, because you need to understand. Derek wasn't some cartoon villain. He wasn't a bad guy who wore his awfulness on his sleeve. He was charming. That's what made it so devastating. We met in grad school, University of Washington, rainy autumn, both of us crammed into the back of a behavioural psych lecture that neither of us cared about. He had this smile. God, that smile. The kind that made you feel like you were the only person in a room full of 200. He asked me out with a coffee cup, wrote his number on the side in Sharpie, slid it across the table. I make terrible life choices. Want to grab dinner? I laughed so hard I snorted. We were married 14 months later. And for the first 8 years, it was good, really, genuinely good. We had the kind of marriage people envied. Weekend hikes, farmers' market Sundays, inside jokes that made no sense to anyone but us. We talked about kids, someday. We talked about renovating the kitchen. We talked about growing old on a porch somewhere with a dog named Waffles. I worked in tech, mid-level product manager, good salary, great benefits, solid career track. Derek worked in medical device sales. He travelled sometimes, conferences, client dinners, regional trade shows. But it never felt weird. It just felt normal, until it didn't. The shift was slow, so slow I almost missed it. It started about 8 months ago. Suddenly, he had more work trips, more late meetings, more client emergencies. His phone became an extension of his hand, always face down, always on silent, always locked. When I'd walk into a room, he'd close his laptop. When I'd ask about his day, his answers got vague. Oh, same old grind. And the intimacy, gone. He'd kiss me on the forehead like I was his sister. He stopped reaching for me in bed, stopped noticing when I wore the black dress he used to love, stopped seeing me. I felt like a ghost in my own house, but every time I brought it up, he had an answer. Work's insane right now, babe. I'm just exhausted. You're being paranoid. That word, paranoid. He used it like a scalpel, precise and clean, carving away at my confidence until I started second-guessing everything. Was I being paranoid? Was I imagining things? Was I the problem? So I stopped asking. I swallowed the doubt. I smiled. I played the good wife, and I hated myself for it. Then came the receipt. It was late April, unseasonably warm. I was doing laundry, his gym clothes, which always smelled like some unholy combination of sweat and Axe body spray. I pulled his shorts out of the hamper and something crinkled. I almost threw it away. Almost, but something, call it intuition, call it divine intervention, call it rage, made me smooth it out. La Belle Vie Hotel and Spa. April 18th, room 507, subtotal $847.32, $847 for a Tuesday night. Derek told me he'd been in Spokane that week for a trade conference. La Belle Vie is in Seattle, 20 minutes from our house. My hands started shaking, not from sadness, from fury. Because in that moment, I realized he wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. He'd gotten sloppy, arrogant. He thought I was too stupid, too trusting, too busy to notice. And that was the match. I didn't confront him. I didn't cry. I didn't throw the receipt in his face and demand an explanation. Instead, I folded it carefully, slipped it into my wallet, and went online. I spent 2 hours researching hidden cameras. I read reviews. I compared specs. I watched YouTube tutorials on how to position them for optimal angle and lighting. I wanted evidence, not suspicion, not gut feeling. Cold, hard, irrefutable. Evidence. The camera arrived 2 days later, small, discreet, motion-activated, records in 1080p HD. I tucked it into the ceramic succulent pot on Derek's side of the dresser, angled toward the bed. You couldn't see it unless you were looking for it. And Derek? Derek never looked. I set the camera on a Thursday. By Sunday, I had gold. I was at brunch with my best friend Natalie when the motion alert pinged my phone. Activity detected. Master bedroom. 12:17 p.m. My stomach dropped. Derek said he was golfing. I excused myself to the bathroom, locked the stall, and opened the app. And there he was, my husband, in our bed, with a woman I'd never seen before. She was tall, blonde, wearing my bathrobe, the plush white one I'd gotten for Christmas, and Derek. Derek was kissing her like she was oxygen, the way he used to kiss me. I watched for 47 seconds before I had to stop. Not because I was heartbroken, because I was nauseated. I stumbled out of the bathroom, told Natalie I had food poisoning, and drove home in silence. I didn't go inside. I sat in the driveway for an hour, staring at our house, the house we'd bought, the life we'd built, and I felt nothing. No tears, no screaming, no collapse, just cold, crystalline clarity. I opened my phone. I downloaded the footage. I backed it up to 3 separate cloud drives, and then I called a lawyer, not just any lawyer, the lawyer, Catherine Nguyen, the woman who'd made headlines 2 years ago for securing a $12 million settlement in a high-profile infidelity case. She answered on the second ring. "Tell me everything," she said. So I did. Catherine didn't waste time. "Do not confront him," she said. "Do not let him know you know, and for God's sake, keep that camera running." So I did. For 3 more weeks, I played the role of oblivious wife. I smiled, I cooked dinner, I asked about his day, and every time he left for a work meeting, I checked the camera, and every single time. Sienna showed up. I learned her schedule, Tuesdays and Thursdays around 1 p.m, sometimes Saturdays if I was out. She'd let herself in with a key Derek had given her, to our home. I documented everything, timestamps, screenshots, video files with metadata. I pulled our bank records. Turns out Derek had opened a separate credit card I didn't know about. Charges at La Belle Vie, Tiffany & Company, Nordstrom. Dinner reservations at restaurants we'd never been to together. He'd spent over $23,000 in 4 months on her, with our money. Catherine was gleeful. This, she said, is a prosecutor's wet dream. Washington is a no-fault divorce state, but it's also an equitable distribution state, meaning the court divides assets fairly, not necessarily equally. And when one spouse has been hiding assets, lying, and spending marital funds on an affair, the scales tip fast. Catherine filed for divorce on a Wednesday. Derek was served at his office, in front of his boss. I wasn't there, but I heard he went white. He came home that night like a tornado, slammed the door so hard the picture frames rattled. What the hell is this? He was holding the petition crumpled in his fist. I was sitting on the couch, calm, cold. It's a divorce, Derek. You can't just... I can, and I did. His face twisted, confusion, anger, panic. Why? What did I do? I almost laughed. You're seriously going to stand there and ask me that? Babe, if this is about me working late, it's about Sienna. Silence. His mouth opened, closed. Who? Sienna, blonde, 5'8", looks great in my bathrobe. The colour drained from his face. I don't know what you're... I pulled out my phone, opened the video, hit play. He stared at the screen, at himself, at her, at the bed we'd picked out together at IKEA on a Sunday afternoon 3 years ago. You recorded me. His voice cracked, not with guilt, with outrage. That's illegal. You can't. Washington is a one-party consent state, I said, voice flat. I can record anything in my own home. Catherine checked. You planned this. You cheated, Derek, for months, in our bed, with our money. So yeah, I planned this. He lunged forward like he was going to grab the phone. I stood up. Touch me, and I'll add domestic violence to the filing. He froze, and for the first time in months, maybe years, he actually saw me. Not the wife he could gaslight, not the woman he could lie to. Me. And he was terrified. The divorce took 4 months, 4 months of depositions, mediations, and court dates. Derek hired a lawyer, a good one, but Catherine was better. She entered the video evidence, the bank statements, the credit card receipts, the testimony from our marriage counsellor. Yes, we'd been seeing one, and yes, Derek had lied to her too. She built a case so airtight you could have used it as a flotation device. Derek's lawyer tried to argue invasion of privacy. The judge laughed. Mr. Holloway, your client committed adultery in the marital home using marital funds. The court is not sympathetic. Then came asset division. Catherine asked for the house, appraised at $785,000. His 401k, worth $240,000. Half his future commission earnings for 2 years. Full reimbursement for the $23,000 he'd spent on Sienna. Alimony. Derek's lawyer sputtered. Your Honour, this is punitive. No, the judge said. This is equitable. And then she grunted everything. Everything. Derek's face went grey. He'd have to sell his car, move into an apartment, start over. Meanwhile, I walked out of that courtroom with the house, financial security, and my dignity. But the best part, the absolute best part. Sienna dumped him a week later. Turns out she wasn't interested in a broke, disgraced medical device sales rep living in a studio. She was interested in the money. And when the money disappeared, So did she. It's been a year now. I'm still in the house. I repainted the bedroom, bought new sheets, got a dog, not named Waffles, but close. His name is Biscuit, and he's perfect. I got a promotion at work. I started seeing a therapist, actually seeing one, not pretending to for Derek's benefit. And I've been on a few dates, nothing serious, but hopeful. Derek. Last I heard, he's living with his parents in Tacoma. He had to declare bankruptcy, lost his job. And the internet. Oh, the internet had a field day. Someone leaked the story, probably someone from the courthouse, and it went viral. Articles, Reddit threads, TikTok breakdowns. Woman uses hidden camera to expose cheating husband, wins everything in divorce. The comments were beautiful. Queen. This is the energy we need in 2025. Imagine fumbling a woman this smart. Derek's name was everywhere. And honestly, I didn't feel bad, not even a little. Because here's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't just break your heart. It breaks your trust, your sense of safety, your belief that the person you chose, the person you loved, actually had your back. And when someone shatters that, they don't get to be surprised when the pieces cut them on the way down. I don't believe in karma, but I believe in proof. And I believe that when someone shows you who they really are, when they lie, cheat, and gaslight you into thinking you're the problem, you don't owe them forgiveness. You owe yourself the truth. And sometimes, the truth comes with a hidden camera, a killer lawyer, and a divorce settlement that breaks the internet. If this story gave you chills, and I know it did, smash that like button. Drop a comment and tell me, would you have done the same thing? Or would you have handled it differently? And if you want more stories about people who refused to be walked on and came out on top, subscribe, because trust me, we're just getting started. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.